Evening. How you all doing? Good, I hope. Ready for the weekend? What have you got planned? Oh, I know what you've got planned. It's the second solo from Sweet Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama. Didn't say that right, did I? Where's that? Nobody knows. Just made it up. But yeah, you asked for it. I suggested I might be looking at it. Here it is. I've had my work cut out this week. This solo is, well, for want of a better term, it is an absolute whopper. It's a beast. And I've thoroughly enjoyed correcting my 14-year-old habits that have been baked in over 10 years, give or take. But yeah, it's there's more to this solo than you thought, and I thought, than all of us. And there's sneaky little things in there. And I reckon someone could still improve on what I've done. Especially the guys in the band. I mean, if they're here watching this prior to the next gig, you know, brushing up, I expect them to make it a little bit better before they play it on stage. It's phenomenal. And if you've not learnt it, you're in for a treat. And if you have learnt it, you're probably still in for a treat, because there'll be some sneaky stuff in there. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Let's get to it. If you want the tabs, backing tracks, grab them on Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, hit the bell, and leave me a comment below. Before we start. Come on. Okay, here we go. As always on this channel, when we're learning solos, I'm going to break it down into approximately 157,000 manageable sections. Practice them, put them together, and then impress all your mates. First one goes like this. Starting on the open D string, hit it twice, hammer onto the second fret, and then we're going to go back and forth between the open G and the second fret of the D. 2 open Gs to finish. I hear that. Little extra note. It's quiet, it's a ghost note, but it's there. We need to play it. Then you're going to grab the second fret of the G, and you're basically going to do little staccato micro bends, working your way up to the finale, something like this. Then you're going to hit the open G, second fret of the D, and back to the G again. At that point, you're going to give your bar a little dip. Little tip for you with your whammy bar, because there's going to be these intermittent dips, tighten the little grub screw at the back so you can keep it in a place where you don't have to go looking for it. I like to keep mine here, and I can kind of bring it back in, just get it slightly out of the way, but I don't want it swinging down here. Okay? That's no good to me. I want it in. After that, leading into the next section, we're going to hit open G, open D, open G, up, down, up. Okay, it's going to let us transition into the next section. So you're going to zip up to the 9th fret of the G with the middle finger, index finger on the 8th fret of the B, a little back and forth. And then you're going to hammer on to the 11th fret of the B with the 3rd finger. This is the way I like to play it. Hammer it on, and then you're going to bend that up a tone and a half, 3 frets. Then come back to the 10th fret. little staccato whole tone push. Got that same little back and forth between the 8 on the B and the 9 on the G, and then slide back to the 7. Hit it one more time when you get there. And then you've got a few more hits in a row. Now, one thing that I think is cool about this next little lick, I feel like he catches the open D as well as the fretted D on the 7th fret of the G. So you can try and do that with a little upstroke. And then you're going to basically flat roll the 3rd finger over the 9 on the D and the G, making your way around one of those little triangles. That extra little 7 at the end, again, just sets us up for the next lick. That's harder to do slow than it is fast. You've got to count it. I'm not Richard Whiteley. This isn't countdown. What are you playing at? Start on the 9th fret of the D and slide up to the 14. Back and forth. There's a lot of this back and forth business. Must be an Alabama thing. Back and forth between the 12th fret of the G and the D. 14th fret of the G with your 3rd finger. Pull off to the 12. Down to the 14 on the D and back to the 12 on the G. And I would just go around and around and around. My tip for this, the quicker you do the pull off, even though you think it might be too quick, it won't be too quick. Do it as quick as you can and it'll get you snapping back in time for each rotation. The other note variations you're going to have there, 17 on the G, the same pull off and the same low note with the middle finger, and 16 on the G. So practice that with your pinky, stretch into both. And then now I'll just walk you through the order, okay? So you've got 1 14, 2 17s, 5 16s, 1 17, 2 14s, 3 17s. After that 3rd one, you just go back and forth between the 12 on the G and the 14 on the D. And again, I find it more difficult to play it by myself than with the track because the rhythm section just guides you and the note changes make more sense. Next part. Is this not one of the best runs in the solo? Dare I say it, of all time? It doesn't get cheekier than this. It does. So, hammer on from the 13th fret of the A to the 14, middle and 3rd finger, then you're going to string skip over to the G on the 12, back to the 14 on the D. When you get there, slide back to the 12 and back up to the 14. Now we've got some little back and forths again between 12 on the G, 14 on the D. And that pattern just kind of ascends. It hammers on, goes back and forth across the 2 strings. And then when you get up to the B and the high E, that's going to be fret 15 and 12. We've then got a 12 to 15 hammer on the high E, very quick one. And then you're going to continue to hit this 15 with some really kind of like raucous vibrato. So hammer on and then hit it twice. And then you're going to go to a series of 3. finish on that F, 13th fret of the high E. You can give that a little bit of vibrato as well. All together. Now the next part is absolutely boss. It's probably one of my favorite sounding things on guitar of all time, but it's challenging and it's up for debate. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways you can play it. The first one is the way I did it in my example, and that goes like this. Opens with a little back and forth, 12th fret of the high E, 15th fret of the B. And then we've got these whole tone bends, 15th fret of the B. But I want you to think of them like delayed bends. If you were to slide between the two notes, the higher note would be like the afterthought. It's not straight in. And that will give you the kind of pull that this part has. So you do that twice, back to the high E. The next time I hit 15, 16 on the B and then 12 on the high E. That's just chromatically walking up to the note E. Another 15th fret bend, 12 on the high E in the middle. And then you're going to hit 13, 12 on the B, high E 12 and another bend. Together goes like this, ready? That 12 on the high E actually starts our little descending pattern. So 12th fret of the high E, 15th fret of the B, pull off to the 12, 15th fret of the G, little back and forth. You're going to slide that down a semitone. That's like a little blues run. Here you can pull off 12th fret of the G, and then 14, 12 on the D. And now this is important. Slide from the 14 to the 12 on the A, and then hit the 10. One more time, slow. Now where you might want to play it a little bit differently to me is when it goes to the 13 and the 12 on the B. You might want to hit that B note after the C with a whole tone bend, 14th fret of the G, or you could even hit the 50 and just push that up a semitone. Or so, you know, if you disagree with the way I like to play it, then you've got a couple of options there. So you can shut your face. And also, if you want that kind of like shrieking, squealing thing that happens in that section, I would just advise you to really, really dig in with the pick in hand and see what happens dynamically. Because if I go like this, sounds boring. Sounds like a boring old story from your gran. Okay. Now, if I just dig in, I've not changed the tone or anything. Look. And it starts to get a little bit more raspy and snappy. Next part goes like this. It's hard to break that one up, and it's quite a long passage, so we'll go through it, but then I'll just give you the last little bit by itself. 12th fret of the A to the E, hammer on 10, 12 on the A, hit it again when you get there, tell it you've arrived. little back and forth, 10 on the A, 12 on the E. Then you're going to hit the 10, 12 again on the A, down to the E. Make your way back round to the 10 on the A, another little triangle. And then we start to slide up and get slinky. Essentially, it's the same kind of lick, making your way around one of those little boxy triangles. But this time we start on the 12 on the A, up to the 14, 12, 14 on the D. Drop down, back up to the 12 on the D. Pattern continues to ascend and it actually starts from the same note we just finished on, but this time you're going to hammer on from the 12th fret of the D to the 14. Another little back and forth between the G and the D. And then I hear this tiny little push on this 14th fret of the G. Hard to do because you've got to hit the 14 on the D after it. Another little triangle. Is this a fucking geometry lesson or a guitar lesson? Isosceles this, that and the other. I've had enough. Sorry. All right. So then we slide from the 14th fret of the G up to the 16th fret with the middle finger. And then you've got this little back and forth between the 15th fret of the B, 16th fret of the G, like this. Back down to the 16 on the G, slide down to the 14 and back up. Hammer on 15, 17 on the B, 15 on the high E, and then you've got these 3 whole tone squealing bends. Another back and forth, 15, 17, E to B. And then slide that third finger down from 17 to 15. The reason I like to slide that finger down there rather than just go like is because it actually sets the hand up ready for the next lick. Okay? This is one of the most difficult runs to teach because there's so much information and it's so samey, a lot of back and forths and kind of moving around these little boxy triangles like I've said. So let's just run through it one more time. Okay, last part of the main solo. Starts with the back and forth, 12th fret of the B to the 15. Slide down to the 14. Now here what I think's happening is we pick the 12 and the 14. And if you catch an open D, palm muted or a little bit kind of like percussive like that, before you finish on that 12th fret of the G, it gives it like a chunk. Sometimes licks and solos have these like percussive elements in them that they're not necessarily like a fret up here. It could just be that they've gone to an open string for a second, and you might be chasing like, why doesn't mine sound like that? You have to experiment. Does he just kind of blast an open string? Is it harmonic? Is it like a pick mute like that? And that's what I think's happening here. At speed, you don't hear it for as long, right? So it's not as obvious what it is. I think that's what's happening. Now I almost forgot about the next 2 licks. I was going to finish the lesson there, and then one of my students, Don, said, "Oh yeah, the second solo that ends with the harmonics." What harmonics, Don? Oh yeah, the harmonics that are there that I forgot about. So thanks for saving me from all the trolls. So the next 2 licks go like this. So 12th fret of the D, a very choppy staccato 14th fret whole tone bend, pre-bend release, and then pull off to the 12. And you can delay for a second before hammering back onto the 14. Then you've got this semitone hammer on from 10 to 11 on the G, and then 12, 12, D, A. Hit that 12 again, slide down to the 10. I don't do any vibrato here, or if I do, it's just a tiny, tiny amount. And I really dropped the dynamic of my picking because I don't want it to be like pulling sharp or in your face. So it's winding down, right? The rhythm section here is doing what? So that's dropped dynamically. So our playing should kind of match it as well. Then at the end, you've got this little harmonic riff. It's very cool. 7th fret of the D, 12th fret of the B, 7th fret of the D, one last back and forth in case you haven't had enough, and then 5th fret of the G. We do a little bar dive, just like we did at the start. It's cool. We open with one, and we end with one, and it's a nice touch. Now that, one of those really tricky, annoying things. It's the last thing at the end of the solo. You miss it, it's just, it's deflating. It makes me throw up. All that effort, I've nailed the solo, get to the end, stop the show. Everyone gets a refund, go home. So yeah, you want to get this little seesaw motion going between the index finger and the pinky here so that you don't get any bleed. And also, if you bring the picking hand back in between the strings, see? I'm stopping it dead. When I hit them with a little bit more authority, again, they ring out clearer. Should we try one unaccompanied slow run through the solo? Let's see what happens, shall we? Chickened out. No way I'm getting to the end of that. First take and duffing the harmonics at the end. Slow and steady. Wins the race. I hope you enjoyed that. It's an absolute whopper. And I've been working that out over the past week. I had a version that I played from when I was younger that I'd worked out. But there was loads of bits where I was like, oh my God, that's wrong. That's wrong. I had a different order for the fast repetitive pattern. The kind of weird bendy lick in the middle, I've changed that. So it took me about 2 days to kind of overwrite my save file. Anyone who has a private lesson with me will be sick of me hearing. Sick of me hearing? You need me to hear if I'm teaching you, believe me. But they'll be sick of hearing me saying overwrite your save file, because it takes time. Habits that are built in, part of your programming. You played it for like 15 years and then someone goes, change that. It's not that simple, it takes practice, but I guess I have to kind of do it quicker than you, right? That's why I'm sat here, like a Burke. Anyway, if you want the tabs, backing track for this solo, and some advice to give me some abuse, you can do that over on Patreon. Link's up there. Little phone's probably over there scrolling away. I need to update that. Bit lazy of me, really, isn't it? Dated posts. What a shame. But this solo is, and was phenomenal. And I need food. I need refueling. If there's any other Skynyrd, Ed King masterpieces, I know what you're going to say. I know which ones you're going to say down below. But just out of curiosity, is there anything else you'd like me to cover or teach? Then let me know in the comments below. And I will add it to my ever-growing list. But yeah, it's been emotional. And I've enjoyed it. It made me better again. Another upgrade. Anyway, you have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.